Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So today I am doing some preserving. I am working on pears. I got in a case of pears from Asia Standard. They were on sale, so I couldn't really resist. I thought, you know what? I haven't done any pear preserves in quite a while. And so I decided I would, get a case and do a few things. So the first recipe that I'm working on today is an unusual pear recipe in that it is a pear salsa. So to begin, I am working on peeling all of my pears, peeling and dicing up, and of course removing the cores. I'm going to need 8 cups of diced pears to make this. So I have a bowl set up here to collect all of my scraps, and then I have a bowl over here of cold water, and you could use lemon juice, citric acid, produce preserver, basically just some sort of acid to keep the pears from turning brown as you're working on them. And I apologize if you can hear noise. The dogs decided to start wrestling in the living room as soon as I turned on the camera. Now I am cutting the pieces of pear kind of as a little bit of smaller dice. And that's just because I'm making a salsa, and when I'm doing salsa, I like to use smaller bits of peppers and all of that. I just think it's easier to eat. And I'm just cutting everything with my little handy paring knife here. It's just easy to do everything with this because, if I'm chopping up potatoes or carrots or celery like for a soup, then of course I'm going to use my chef knife, which is my go-to for most of my kitchen work. But this is a little more delicate, and so that's when I pull the paring knife out. And of course, when I'm using my chef knife, as I chop everything up, I just use the side of my knife to pick up all of the cut food. And I can't really do that with my little paring knife here, so my bench knife comes in handy for that. Which you've also heard me periodically call it a dough blade or a dough knife. And I pulled out this old cutting board of mine that has this trough around the edges just because I didn't know how juicy these pears were going to be, and I didn't want juice from the pears running all over the counter and dripping all over the floor. And I realized that it's actually missing a foot. So it's a little wobbly, but it's all right. All right, so I've diced up my 8 cups of pears, and now I'm working on the peppers. I need 3 red bell peppers and 3 green bell peppers, and I'm going to go ahead and dice all of these up. And as I dice these up, I'm just going to go ahead and throw them into my pot over here. Alright, so I diced up the bell peppers as well as a cup of onion, and now I'm going to mince up 3 jalapeno peppers. Alright, I've added the pears to my pot with all of the peppers and onion. Now I'm going to add in 1 cup of white vinegar. Alright, I've got my jars over there heating up in the steam canner. This is a high acid recipe, so you'd want to use a steam canner like I have here, or a hot water bath canner. This recipe makes about 6 or 7 8-ounce jars, but I always prepare a couple extra jars just in case. So to my pot here, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 cup of granulated sugar. And then for some seasonings, we need 2 tablespoons of salt. I'm using Redmond Real Salt as usual. We need 2 teaspoons of dry mustard. And this salsa, because it's a pear salsa, uses some kind of warm spices. Half a teaspoon of turmeric. Half a teaspoon of allspice. And a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Alright, so now we're going to turn on the stove here, and we're going to bring this up to a gentle boil, stirring continually so that nothing scorches or sticks or anything like that. Once this comes to a boil, we'll reduce the heat and let it cook together for about 5 minutes. And then it'll be time to jar it up. Alright, so I've been working on jarring up the salsa here. And we're doing a 1/2 inch headspace, which means there's a 1/2 inch from the top of the food to the top of the edge of the jar. Take a little bubble wand or chopstick like I'm using here. Get the air bubbles out. Dip my damp cloth in some white vinegar. Wipe off the rim of the jar real good. Grab a lid from the hot water. Put on a ring. And into the canner. And I think I'm actually going to have more salsa than I do jars. So I do have a couple of extra jars sitting over here that are washed and ready. And I think I might be able to fit 1 or 2 more in this canner here. Whatever won't fit, I'll just put it in an extra jar and stick it in the fridge to use right away. Alright, so I ended up getting 10 half-pint jars. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on here. Now once my steam canner gets up to temperature, we'll go ahead and set the timer. And this will process for 20 minutes, whether it is a steam canner like this or a hot water bath canner. It's 20 minutes processing time for the 8-ounce jars. And of course you do want to adjust for your elevation. I have an article on my website that explains how to do that if you live at a higher elevation.
That's some good salsa. Try some. That's very good. Good.
Alright friends, so that is the Pepper Pear Salsa. So now these jars will just sit here overnight. Then tomorrow I will remove the rings, test the seals, wash off the jars, label them, and put them away in the pantry. So Mr. Smith has already broken into the extra jar that I stuck in the refrigerator that wouldn't fit into the canner. And needless to say, He likes it a lot. Now this salsa is great as a regular salsa that you would dip with chips, but it would also make a fantastic topping for some grilled or pan-seared chicken breasts. If you would like to make this pepper pear salsa, you can get a copy of the recipe. You'll find it on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com. I will put a link to that in the video description down below.